G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live. This is episode number 358. It is August 14. I'm Dwayne Nichols. I'm live here in Wagga with all of your paintball news from really only here in Australia at the moment, but there's a bit of an Asian flavour to tonight's show given the results at the Super Sevens over the weekend, which we will be talking about here. There is also a Super Sevens highlight video that Adam Connolly has put together on his regular short notice and tight schedule and got that out for us. So you'll be seeing that here on the show. If you are joining in, hit the little thumbs up, hit the share button if you feel like it, the subscribe button if you already haven't. Yeah, just hang around. Let us know who you are. John Caruana is in, John O'Collins is in, Brad Short, Tom, Susan, Alex Keith from the OG Boys, and I'm going to be talking about those guys. I've got, well, not the OG Boys specifically, but I've got something here that I'll be talking about a little bit later in the show, so hang around for that one if you are joining in at the moment. Thank you to everyone who has. I'm going to start with mentions for the major sponsors of the show, that being Gladiator and paintballshop.com. Typically, I would start with paintballshop.com and they would lead off and I would then do Gladiator, but I'm doing it in reverse order tonight because of the order of what I need to speak about, and it's a couple of little shout outs. So the first one, and spoiler alert I suppose for what we're going to be talking about throughout majority of the show, is a congratulations from Gladiator to Wicked Assassins on their third place in the semi-pro division over the weekend. Even though a third place is an unreal result and any podium is worth talking about, from the Wicked Assassins, who recently got a win out at MJ Memorial Cup in Division 2 out there, to STK, Asylum more recently, the Eskimo Brothers going back to the last round of Super Sevens. Just about any Gladiator team has been on the podium, and more often than not in first or second lately. So a third place, which is an unreal result and one that most teams would be happy with. Yeah, that's getting down towards the lower end of what to expect from Gladiator teams these days. Such is the quality of Gladiator teams across the board. So shout out to the Wicked Assassins. I'm just pulling your leg. Congratulations to you guys on getting third place at the Super Sevens in what was a hotly contested field, which we will be talking about soon. Lachlan from PPG is in. Billy Kalias, Michael Namoski also joining in at the moment. So thanks for jumping in the chat tonight, and make sure you stay in the chat if you were out playing Super Sevens, and I know that some of the people in here were. Yeah, let us know a bit of feedback for myself and for the guys at Super Sevens. And Billy saying Wicked Warriors and Wicked Assassins. Yeah, well, they had the two teams across the division, then another team down in M's as well. So massive shout out to everything that the Wicked Assassins family is doing at the moment. And then for paintballshop.com, the other major sponsor of the show, well, they are doing a shout out as well to the Singapore Outlaws, the winners of the semi-pro division. You can see them there with Mike and their trophy and their medals and their banner from Anthrax. Just another team wearing quality Anthrax jerseys. I think there's a few teams getting around in Anthrax in that semi-pro division now. I know that PPG are also wearing them. And I would recommend that you do as well. Asylum have been wearing Anthrax jerseys for, I'm going to say, like 7 years now, somewhere around there. It's a fair relationship we've built with those guys over the years. Absolutely top-notch products and worth checking out. And congratulations to the Outlaws on their win. Traveling internationally and then coming out and getting a win is huge. And for the full results, let's get into the full results rather than just from the sponsors here. Another photo of the guys from Outlaws, again with the trophy. Their second place, the one place that you have not heard about, was Shenanigans. Wicked Assassins the third, as mentioned, and Immortal Knights from New Zealand coming out and getting fourth for the weekend. So congratulations to all the teams involved there. The talking points from the weekend were the quality of play, the enjoyment of the field layout, I had a couple of people message me saying that they love the field layout and that the whole vibe around that semi-pro division or just the Super Sevens in general has been more enjoyable this year than it has been in past years, which is great to hear. I think having teams back traveling internationally would have something to do with that. And just teams getting to know one another more and more over the years as well, and coming up together as well, like PPG, Bitch, and some of those teams have competed against each other in M's right through now. They're playing up in semi-pro. I'm sure you'll find those guys coming up against one another in the pro division in time. John O'Collins saying go Shenanigans. Yeah, well, it was cool to see the Shenanigans name get thrown back into Super Sevens at the beginning of this year, and the guys go out and get second place. A few old boys of the paintball scene getting back together for a run and doing good things, which is really cool to see. Other things that I heard from the weekend, sort of on differing things. So the pros, guys like Gaddy, Jared Cozier, Mo, pro level players with no pro division coming up this coming weekend, those guys found themselves onto various teams throughout the semi-pro division. I think that was cool. I noted that the Outlaws did not have an Australian-based pro player on their team and still got the win. Tom Boyd saying Jono loves playing finals. Yeah, he's only forfeited almost every single one that I'm aware of. And Lachlan saying Shenanigans was schooling the young teams out there. Yeah, there definitely is an element, and I suppose it's something you sort of think when you're coming up in paintball. When I started playing competitively, I was like 25 or 26, and I sort of thought that athleticism and your fitness and all of those things were major advantages, and they can be, but paintball, more so than other sports, in my experience, and I've played just about all of them, yeah, you can really get away if you're not necessarily as fit or as fast, if you've got great technique, you've got good skill, and if you've got the brain for the game, if you can work the game out on paper and collectively as a team, that can go a long way. Smarts can outdo athleticism in paintball much more than they can in other sports. Actions, John. So John Caruana saying, I got shot a lot on the sideline, but it's all part of the job. Yeah, and so John, I assume, was the head ref. I heard there was some new refs, some of the players mentioning that there was a few new refs there, that they weren't thrilled about newer refs being out there for the semi-pro division, given how competitive that semi-pro division was. I mean, these new refs have to get trained up. That's sort of getting thrown in the deep end, I suppose. Hopefully, they continue working on that. In other countries, and it's not something we do here, there is refereeing clinics. That might be something that needs to be addressed if there's been a changing of the guards of referees that are out there. Alex Kitt saying Carter was doing some schooling. I did see a video of a 5-pack against the eventual winners. So just another little mention on the gaps between the top and bottom teams. So PPG missed finals and finished at the bottom of the table, but they drew with first place Outlaws in the prelims. So there was nothing between the teams from top to bottom. Chris Thomas saying, I haven't been fast in 10 years. Yeah, it's like you don't have to be fast. You got to be fast between the ears sometimes, but you don't necessarily have to be fast on your feet, although it definitely helps in some situations as well. And the only other thing I wanted to chat about as far as Super Sevens is concerned, before I show the little highlights video, was the scoring. So I just wanted to have a discussion on this. And if you did see the scoreboard that was posted up after the weekend, there was 5 teams. So the 4 finalists, as I mentioned before, and Bitchin, who finished 5th, they all finished on 4 points. Bitchin did that by winning 4 games and getting 1 point per win. The other 4 teams who played finals did that via 3 wins and 2 draws each. So that's the way Super Sevens has been for a long time. Nobody complained about that. It is just something I've noticed. In the US NXL, they will always play an overtime point. There will never be a draw. So that is one way to avoid that. And then they go to point spread. The more points you win by, the higher your ranking is, rather than eliminations and deaths. But if there is going to be a draw, and for scheduling reasons, because scheduling is often tighter here on 2-day events in Australia, I can understand why draws have to be played out sometimes. I think wins need to be encouraged by being worth more and much more than a draw. Currently, a draw is worth half of 1 point and a win is worth a point. If that was changed to 3 points for a win and 1 point for a draw and nothing for a loss, I think you would have seen things play out a little bit differently there. Actually, John Caruana says that they're running a ref clinic soon. That's cool to hear. I think that would be of massive benefit to everyone, refs and players too. As a player, if you've never refed an event at all, a local 3-man, if you haven't refed points at training, just do it. Just see what the game is like through the eyes of a ref. It's incredibly difficult, and you'll probably complain a little bit less. Alex saying overtime one-on-ones are super exciting. Yeah, look, ultimately, yeah, as Chris has just confirmed, 3 points for the win, 1 for the draw, and nothing for the loss is the best way to do it. It is done that way in a number of sports, not just paintball. It rewards the win. And I wanted to use an example. And Chris, I'm sure he probably forgets the year as well. But I specifically remember going to the last round of a prelim at Super Sevens, knowing that we needed just a draw to get through to finals at an event that we were playing in semi-pro a couple of years back. At one point in the match, with about a minute to go, it was 1-1. And yeah, it just makes maybe a minute and a half to go. It makes the game less exciting for the players when there's a minute and a half to go and both teams are sort of playing for a draw because they know that a draw is good enough. It just needs to, there needs to be some sort of encouragement to encourage teams to win their matches. More points is the best way to do that. Point spread is another way to do that, because then the more points you win by, the higher rank you go, rather than the more people alive at the end of any point. I don't want to tell them how to do it at the Super Sevens. They've been doing it the way they have been doing it for a long time, and somewhat successfully. Teams continuing to turn out the semi-pro division. One of the most best attended events in the country of late. So it's not something that people are complaining about, but I think it's such a minor tweak that could be done that would be a better reflection. And a team like Bitchin, who in prelims won more games than anybody else in the prelims, for them to miss finals just doesn't seem quite right. And John is saying that they'll change it for the 2024 season. And yeah, of course, you would not change it at this point. Definitely do not change it at this point. After 3 out of 4 events has happened. And Tom saying, I don't think the scoring needs to change. The comp was that close. Every game was a must win. But whilst that is absolutely the case, like I say, with the example of Bitchin winning more games than anyone else, I don't feel like if you're winning more games that there is a way that you should miss finals. And yeah, point spread would see less teams running the clock. Absolutely right. It gives you more incentive to get up the field and press that buzzer rather than standing around. Because if you win by 2 or by 3, that is worth more than winning by 1. That's just my opinion on it. I think that it could be a minor change that it gives winning and winning by a lot more benefit, which is what teams should be aiming to do. You should ultimately, we'd all love to go out there and win 3-0, but with say 30 seconds on the clock and the score is 1-1, do both teams play for the draw? Does one team play for the win? All of those things needs to be factored in that case. So let's get on with the highlights video. Minute 30, little highlights package put together by Adam Connolly. I'm guessing filmed by Liz. I didn't ask Adam when he sent it through, but check it out. There's some quality stuff in here. Thank you again to the guys from Super Sevens. They do this with Total War. They do it with Super Sevens. Getting highlights videos together in such a short period of time is awesome. So check it out. yeah, another stellar effort from the guys there. I really like that. And yeah, I did see Brad and Tom mentioning they lost more games too. Chris actually, I was sort of thinking whilst watching that video back how I would best sum that up, but Chris has probably done a better job in summing it up in a sentence than I would have in blabbering on for a few minutes. Winning is much harder than losing. Any team can lose a match, yeah. And my general whole point is that we just need to be rewarding winning matches. So that's what I would be pushing for if it were up to me. Lachlan saying that is a sick video. The one thing I took away from the video, I'll go with two things actually. A couple of the rundowns from the shenanigans guys, those old boys just making their way up through the field, stabbing people. I'm all for that. And there seems to be some seriously quick young talent coming through in the semi-pro division. Some of those guys running snake off the break were lightning. So really look forward to the development of some of those players over the next couple of years. And yeah, not only was that video so good, but that event finished, you know, a little over 24 hours ago. Adam would have got to work today, and amongst all of the other things that he has to do in a day's work at paintballshop.com, he gets that video knocked out in a day. So shout out to him on that effort. I mentioned before OGWear. Alex Kitt is in the chat at the moment. Got a little image here to talk about this. So I messaged him a couple of weeks ago, and I've been seeing this OGWear brand take over the Asian paintball scene as far as headbands is concerned. And I didn't really know much about it. Thankfully, I've known Alex for a couple of years now. He's played events here in Wagga, and I've crossed paths with him a number of times in Canberra. I got a bit of a rundown on what it's all about. So they got a bunch of, and I'll get the message from him so I can get it, make sure I'm getting the information across correctly to you guys. If I just scroll down here, they originally started out repurposing old paintball gear. So whether that was jerseys, pants, whatever the case might be, back up a fair way. And that's why you'll see OGWear, well, let's focus that in, repurposed on some of these headbands. So this is the particular band that I messaged him and wanted to buy. And he was, or OGWear, were good enough to send this one out to me for free. So thank you to them for that. But in addition to that, the free one that I got, some of you guys are going to get a couple of free ones like this. The packaging too, by the way. Inside, you'll obviously get the band. You open it up here, and then beyond that, on the inside of the cardboard, there's a little bit of you can, I don't know if you'll see it in here with the lighting in the room, but you can read about OGWear on the inside there as well. So some of these headbands are looking pretty slick. If you want to check them out, Alex will drop the link in the chat because I had planned on doing that and totally forgot. So this one is known as Trix that I just showed you there. The one that I went with is called Lux, and then this one, unsurprisingly, is known as Tiger that you can see there. But not only are they repurposing old paintball jerseys and pants and that type of thing into headbands, they are now getting their own designs done, and you will be able to pick and choose from their website if you want. Chris is saying nice packaging. Alex himself is saying that the Tiger one is one of his faves. And Lachlan saying PPG are rocking them at the moment. It's quality gear. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm real hit and miss with headbands. There is certainly some headbands that I don't like. I can tell as soon as I feel one for whatever reason, and I don't know. I can't always put it down to any one thing. But I like the thicker headbands, and there's some that have like a bit of elasticity to them. They're real stretchy, and I don't really like that. These ones are quite firm. They don't like stretch. That is my preference. It might not be yours, but I like this. And the main thing that you always look for, at least I do, as someone who is a pretty sweaty human being, is a good, like the terry toweling in here. You want good quality stuff in there, and that is absolutely the case. So yeah, check it out. Are they long enough? Yeah, Chris is much like me in that regard too. Well, I can't fit it in the frame if I run you across there. Massively long tails, which again, that's probably my only criticism of the Anthrax headbands, for example. I don't think the Anthrax headbands are long enough the tails are really short on the Anthrax headbands, or at least they used to be. I haven't bought one in a while. That is not the case with these. So if you want to pick them up, go and check them out. They're at all Asian events now. Like Lachlan said, PPG are wearing them here in Australia. They will ship to Australia, obviously, because I have a couple here. And I need to speak to Alex about these couple. Because, yeah, I've got these ones. Oh, I turned the wrong one. There we go. OG both ways. And I've got to give them away. Well, I don't have to. I probably could have kept it a secret and kept them for myself. But I said I would give them away. So I will. So we'll work out a way to do just that and give them away, perhaps next week on the show. Yeah, Alex saying they're long and they stay tight. After a few washes, they wear in good. Yeah, we'll check out the website and pick one up. I encourage you to do it. It's paintball people doing paintball things, so support them. That's what we all like to do. What else do I have to mention here tonight? A couple of birthdays quickly. So Jesse, Jonesy, Nick Lamb, James, Kristen, Ethan Peterson. That's father and son. I can't imagine that they celebrate a birthday on the same day. I mean, of course it is possible. Just seemed unlikely when I noticed it on Facebook. So I don't know if that's the case or what the go is there. But either way, happy birthday to one and or both of them. And Tash and Jordan for later in the week as well. Photo of Nick Lamb by Kayla Woodham just there. So happy birthday to everyone there. If you haven't been keeping an eye, and that's the one I want to talk about, notice quickly, September 10, Sniper's Den down in Melbourne is running an open division 3-man, and they'll be running a beginner's 3-man soon, so keep an eye out for that. The MXBL in Malaysia will be coming up. I imagine the OG boys with OGwear will be featured heavily at that one. The NXL in the US is coming up. Total War is coming up. I've got a 3-man beginners event here in Wagga in a couple of weeks. Most importantly, though, if you're down in Melbourne, I encourage you guys to get out and play at Sniper's Den. They've got their brand new bunker set in as well. So, yeah, a few fields, us here in Wagga, the guys out at Wasp in WA, Hartley Valley, Sniper's Den have all invested in new bunker sets this year. It is a massive investment. Go and support them and play their events. I think that's everything that I have to mention for tonight before I wrap it up. There was something else I had to mention. Next Monday. There will be no PBHQ next Monday. There's no events this coming weekend, which is a big part of why there'll be no show next Monday, as there wouldn't be a great deal to talk about. But more importantly, I'll be heading to Sydney next Monday to get my compressor serviced. So I won't be here. I may drop in to paintballshop.com on Monday afternoon, time permitting. I might just go to the pub with John O'Collins if he's still in the chat and have a beer, and not visit Mike at Paintball Shop. It just depends. We'll see how that plans out. But I will be in Sydney next Monday, so I won't be here to do PBHQ. I will be back next Tuesday. I may do some sort of live video from paintballshop.com if I get there. And the Singapore Paintball Series coming up in Singapore. Yeah, it's not too far. I thought it was later in September, but I'd have to double check my calendar. That will be coming up in the not too distant future as well. John is keen for the pub. Yeah, well, it's, Jono and the pub, Mike, easy decision, isn't it? Righto. Well, yeah, I'll see you next Monday, mate. That sounds like a plan. And I won't see everybody else next Monday. But the following Monday, I'll be back on deck with all of your paintball news. So yeah, hit the little thumbs up, hit the share button, the subscribe button if you haven't, and join me again in 2 Mondays' time. Thanks, guys. Bye.